Honestly, this play is crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a carry take this angle. Now, Save is actually a support player, but he's just one of the most versatile players in Dota. Like, I've watched this guy play core time and time again, and he's actually a beast, but look at this angle. Right, crazy angle onto the Oracle. Hey, what is up, guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be watching Save's 21 and 10 PUDGE gameplay. You guys voted on the poll on the Dota 2 community tab of this channel, and yeah, you said PUDGE is the most iconic hero in Dota, which is certainly the case. And so we're going to be looking at PUDGE here today, a 21 and 10 gameplay. This is one of the hardest snowballing PUDGEs I've ever seen. Let's take a look at how Save completely dumpsters this match. And by the way, this is a rank 71 player, extremely competent, 10k MMR, and let's get into it. Also, I want to tell you guys that if you've been struggling with solo queue and you're looking to get to the next rank, I'm going to be able to help you. Like, literally, with the GameLeap website, I'm going to give you guys guides that are going to make it unbelievably clear on what you need to do. So if you've been stuck in the solo queue grind, you don't know what to do, and you want to become absolutely broken, but like actually you want to become much better at Dota, and you want to take it more seriously, the GameLeap website is going to help you do that. So click the link down below. I'm going to help you get to the next rank, and I'll see you there. Alright, so in terms of starting item build, I'm definitely a fan of stick against Beastmaster. I think a lot of people undervalue it. I actually like that the Beastmaster takes boar, but yeah, the stick either way is pretty good. As he hooks the boar, just kind of making sure that the Beastmaster's level 1 boar doesn't do very much. The next thing Save does really well is he knows how to harass without overcommitting. I think a lot of players have the major problem feeling like they have to get the kill or the trade wasn't worth it, and none of the top players think like this. Of course they want to get kills, but that's not their main priority. Instead here, he sees that the Oracle heavily overextends and the Treant is connecting. This is literally the perfect time to hook him. A creep wave is pushing in, meaning it's hard for them to trade back. They hit level 2 first, so they have a severe advantage within that regard. And on top of that, as I said, the Treant is connecting. So it's just a massive hook, and a lot of people don't understand the differences between one hook and another. You could see, because of the fact that the creep wave is pushing in, he hit level 2, and his support was connecting. It's arguably the best hook he could possibly hit. The next thing Save understands is the level 4 spike on PUDGE. If you don't understand why PUDGE spikes at level 4 nowadays, Rot goes from 30 damage per second to 60. It's obviously a major increase. And level 1 Flesh Heap still blocks all of the damage, or basically all of the damage, from level 2 Rot. So this is when PUDGE really becomes a menace. At level 3 he's also pretty strong, but level 4 is definitely the major spike of this hero in the laning stage, at least in terms of like general kill threat. Your hero's good at level 2 as well, but level 4 is like really when you can kill people from full. Now don't ask me how they managed to get I mean, I would imagine this Beastmaster's about to hit level 3, and so is the Oracle, right? Yeah, so Oracle and Beast definitely struggling a little bit. I mean, to be fair, he has 7 denies, so like that's kind of a key part in him winning this lane. This Beastmaster is so underleveled and just has way less stats than him, simply based on the fact that he's 2 levels behind, even though technically he's only about 1 level behind. And it just runs him down. Level 4 Flesh Eat means that the Rot practically does no damage, waits till the hook is up, doesn't auto attack a single time in that engagement, and I like that. A lot of players would have clicked, losing the Rot, and then likely losing the kill. From there, this next hook is pretty nasty. Like, honestly, this play is crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a carry take this angle. Now, Save is actually a support player, but he's just one of the most versatile players in Dota. Like, I've watched this guy play core time and time again, and he's actually a beast, but look at this angle. Right, crazy angle onto the Oracle. Actually late dismembering here, which is something you want to do if you're super optimal. Basically, it's best case scenario to actually not dismember them right away if you don't have to, because you want to dismember them after like an auto attack, because that will pull them back into the Rot and essentially maximize your damage. I know it seems like really specific and maybe unnecessary, but you get the point, right? It's an extra auto attack. You can hit once against most heroes, and as long as they don't have an instant stun or some sort of mobility, it is actually overall better. I mean, you have to be careful against Oracle that he doesn't W. In this case, I guess he didn't have the point, so maybe he should have dismembered right away against Oracle, but either way, ends up picking up the kill, and that's definitely a small little tip you can implement into your gameplay. From there, we're just going to see him go crazy and fight. Like, typically you'll actually not see a max Rot, at least from what I've seen. A lot of the time you'll see a 1-3-2 build, just because 1 point Flesh Heap does not block max Rot at all, and so it's actually better for your overall HP pool if you take the 2nd point of Flesh Heap. Also, 2nd point of Flesh Heap, it's very good. It increases the duration, increases the damage block from, you know, enemies as well, gives you a little bit more strength, lowers the cooldown, so it's definitely pretty nice to take the 2nd point. Either way, we're just going to see him walk over and connect to a fight. It's nothing crazy to understand. He's having a good game. What a hook onto the Pango. Man, that was actually so heads up knowing that the roll would end right then and there, right? Paying attention to the duration, and yeah, this is what you want to do on carry. I think a lot of carries get too distracted in farming, and some carries, like, it goes either way, right? What I'll say about carry players is they tend to be very extreme in one way or the other. They either have in their mind that they need to connect to all the fights, or they haven't learned how to flash farm yet, or they just fight, or they just farm off cooldown, and, you know, neither of these are really, really great. You tend to want to look for a mix. Like the gameplay we're seeing here where he's going to get another kill on the Beastmaster, as by the way he ships out of Clarity, just like really good to be aware enough to see your mana pool and instantly ship a Clarity. It's always a sign of a high MMR player to me. I know it seems small, but it really does make a big difference, of course. He pops his wand before throwing the hook, calculating that he needed enough mana for the Dismember, and picks up another kill onto the MILF Hunter. What I really like about this upcoming fight here is his patience. A lot of players on PUDGE, when they have Phase Boots Vanguard, just run in and hope for the best. But that's of course not the right angle to team fighting. You're not invincible on this timing by any means. You're very strong, and by the way, he's maxing hook, which... As I said, this guy's a support player. He clearly has the idea that he's gonna kill people this game. I definitely don't recommend not maxing Flesh Heap. Maxing Flesh Heap, it's just too good for core PUDGE, right? Increasing the duration, lowering the cooldown means it's a much better uptime. So yeah, I don't really recommend what he's doing here, but I do love his teamfight execution. It's super clean. So the main thing he's looking for is someone to overextend, and that's of course what you're always looking for on PUDGE to, you know, hit that nice hook. Now, he doesn't force the hook here. I think he maybe could have thrown it a little earlier. Like realistically, this Oracle isn't juking you when you're that close, but yeah, he waits to the last second, which is good. A lot of PUDGEs just chuck hook right away, and I don't get why, right? You're just like most likely going to waste arguably your most important spell in teamfights, right? The ability to reposition someone. Now, getting that close doesn't do too much, just a little bit of damage, but then he's gonna walk in. He's aware enough though to dodge the Lina stun and then kite back in afterwards, and that allows him to end up getting the Dismember onto the Lina. It does get roared, but either way, the rot damage went off, it got on top of the Lina, and they secure the kill. So like, really just really awesome awareness of spellcasting. Originally kiting out, and then finding the Oracle, dodging the LSA, eventually finding the Undying on the side, realizing he has to kite away from this Pango roll, and allowing the Zeus to clean up the Beastmaster. It's just like super, you can see, one of the main aspects of getting better at Dota is just knowing what the enemy spells do and how much damage they do, and having the awareness, like truly having the awareness to keep track of all of them during the fight. I mean, that is insanely difficult, but you can see how good he was in that fight, right? Going in at the right time, kiting out at the right time, multiple times per fight. A lot of players are kind of just in, out, and it's just one in and out during the fight. They hope they're stronger, and then the fight ends. And that's your average 3K pub, to be blunt. From there, I like that he slows down the pace of the game. He's only 600 gold for mags, 500 at this point, and it's good to kind of not force a fight when you're this close, because realistically you'll be able to take a fight within the next minute on your actual Aghs timing. So yeah, make sure you have this habit as a carry. It's good when you're playing PUDGE and you have Vanguard and you're off to a good start to take the early fights. You don't need Aghs to fight early as PUDGE nowadays. Like, you don't. But if your game is really bad, you have bad matchups, or you're close to Aghs, it's good to slow down the pace of the game, right? I would say it's those 3 times. I will admit, he actually ends up slowing down the game completely and actually even waiting to blink dagger. And I don't hate this, you know, blink is a major spike on PUDGE as well, but it mostly came down to the fact that the enemy team was just not forcing the fight, right? When the enemy team isn't forcing the engagements, well, to be honest, it's not worth running into them. You know, PUDGE is such a hard flash farming hero where you don't have to force fights to get the advantage. And we're gonna see that kind of pay off here. I think to some extent, this is Amar on the Pango, so a very competent player. He kind of just forgets that PUDGE is strong and PUDGE is in the game, for that matter. And yeah, Save gets a really early blink timing. I mean, this is an 18-minute Aghs blink, insanely early, like insanely early. And he's able to catch the Pango before the shield crash goes off. I believe he doesn't get the resist if it gets canceled. Yeah, it doesn't get the resist, the 20%, and that's gonna end up being a Pango kill, and that's a huge kill. And these solo kills, anytime I'm coaching my students, my private students, I always emphasize how important it is as a carry to kind of look for these side lanes and mid lane solo kills. In your average pub, people will just run down the lane with no information on where you are. And as the carry, often you're the most farmed hero in your team. You should be looking to punish people who are solo pushing in lanes. Like, this is crucial, and the average carry player is just completely unaware. It's either farming or team fighting. Like, really, if you watch your gameplay, this is what it's going to be 90-95% of the time. And I'm not saying like you never do it. This is the problem. A lot of people hear what I'm saying and they'll think like, oh, I do sometimes, right? I did my last game, and it's like, yeah, maybe you do like every so often, but are you consistently finding these kills? Especially in your average match, guys. They're everywhere. These solo kills are everywhere if you're hitting your timings and then abusing the timings. But either way, he's going to pick up his plate mail. Of course, makes sense against, you know, a Coralina doing a lot of physical damage to minus armor from Pango, and then of course Beastmaster amping up everyone's attack speed. That's a nice build. It's even good against Tombstone and Undying ult as well, so not a bad build. Definitely makes a lot of sense. If you don't understand the casual cloak, it makes Rot plus Flesh Heap block Aghs Rot completely, and of course it's just nice to be tanky on PUDGE against enemy heroes. Next up, I think what Save does really well here is takes advantage of the deep ward. I think a lot of players, like, they understand this concept of, you know, fight on the deep ward. If you don't know what I'm talking about, in Dota, in the mid to late game, it's really useful to pay attention to your deepest ward. The reason why is typically the enemy, if they haven't dewarded it, are going to show on the deepest ward. They're not going to assume it's there. They're going to be looking to defend the tower, pushing creep waves, and they're going to walk through it. And it's good to preemptively walk towards those wards, right? You don't even need to see anyone on them. You can kind of just assume someone will walk to them. And in this case, that's exactly what happens. The Undying shows. And this is particularly good because, you know, your whole team is collapsing, first of all. So this is definitely a synergized play with this team. That's nice. But you're going to be able to get information on the rest of the enemy team. For instance, we see Beastmaster creep spot him. I don't know if he actually sees that. I have a feeling he's just jumping the Lina because, like, feels strong, but ends up bumping into the Undying here and starting the fight on the Undying kill. And in your average pub, when you are this good, right, when you get that jump this quick, people will TP in anyway, but the fight's already over. You've taken out one of their supports, and that's huge, right? Often that's good enough, as the Lina calls GG, often that's good enough to decide the fight, right? In this case, they even find the Lina. He's going to chase onto the Beastmaster, hits a really nice hook as well. But this is key, right? A lot of people ask me, how do I carry my games? If you can be the guy who gets a useful jump, now you might be like, I jump in the fights. I always jump in the fights. I'm a PUDGE player. I'm playing Slark. I do jump in, Speed. Are you initiating the fight in a way where your team is getting a pick off to lead, right? By likely playing a ward, or, you know, some heroes just naturally have a vision advantage, Kling's PA, Slark, right? There's other ways to do that on carry. For PUDGE, it tends to just has to be, you know, a good hook or a good dismember. Best case, a good hook into your team off a good ward. And so, yeah, same thing here, playing his wards, right? Just really great vision from his team here. 13k ahead. It's definitely good not to overforce high ground on PUDGE because of the fact that you just don't siege very well, right? When you pick a carry PUDGE and your other cores are Death, Prophet, and Zeus, until you have Exorcism up, it's unlikely you're gonna get a ton of tower damage. So maybe tier 2s are an option because it's nice to fight around there, but hitting high ground, I mean, you can, and maybe he will, just because he feels so strong at this point, but it's tough, right? He is actually going to Shiva's the wave and hit a little bit. Okay, so Exo is up as he finds the Oracle. Beautifully done once again. Looking at that deep ward on the bottom side, Oracle probably types a Russian slur in the all chat. I have no idea what that means. Maybe someone in the comments can let me know. And yeah, that's going to be about the end of this game, as the enemy team actually does feed 6 more kills to him before this match ends. He's going to pick up an E-Blade next, which definitely good. It's good defensively and good offensively on PUDGE, right? Anytime the enemy team indexes into physical damage too much in their draft, then it's a very good idea to go Shivas into E-Blade. I even like the casual Crimson. I think Crimson is criminally underrated on PUDGE. The block is very good. The armor is extremely good. Like, frankly, I think, like, let's say he really wanted E-Blade this game. I think a great build this game is going, like, E-Blade into Crimson, like a late Crimson. And that might seem crazy, but the amount of armor, and when you buy Crimson, not only does it give the block to your team, which is, of course, incredible this game. It's good against, I believe, I don't know if it works against Pango Swash. I'm actually not certain about that, but it definitely works against the high auto attacks of the Lina. It works against Undying zombies. It works against all of Beastmaster's units. So, like, picking out late Crimson, 8 armor, right? Considering it only gives you 6 from Helm of Ironwill, it gives you 8 when you complete the item. 12 HP regen, which is way higher than Vanguard. That's an extra 5. But yeah, the active is just very, very underrated, and it costs no mana, which is nice for PUDGE, because the hero sometimes can have mana problems until it has completed Shivas or Kaya. But yeah, that's just something to keep in mind if you want to go the E-Blade. I actually think the Crimson Guard is underrated. That's all I'm going to say. It's definitely good, especially if the enemy team has a lot of physical. I wouldn't buy it just for our armor necessarily, but I certainly would buy it if the enemy team is like heavily physical and I want and therefore I want the armor. I doubt he has bad blood with this guy, but like, why is he not turning on Rot? He's like trolling him. He's just dismembering him and killing him with a right click. What is wrong with this guy? That's funny. But okay, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you learned quite a bit about PUDGE. I just want to give you guys some small details, some small tips, but really small tips that make big changes in your gameplay and big changes in the outcome of the game, right? For instance, that level 2 hook, finding the Oracle out of position, that completely swings the lane. People don't get that, right? They don't get like, why am I stuck in my bracket? You're not making the small plays. And I usually say you're not making the big plays, but really I like to reword it, and I really want to continue to say like, make the small plays, because that's what it is. That's what being good at Dota is. Like, it's not about hitting the blind hook in no vision. That's not what makes you gain MMRs. It's not about learning some wacky invoker combo, right? It's about being brutally consistent on finding the opportunities to get a little bit of extra harass in lane. Like, when I lane against Arteezy, I know I'm laning against Arteezy because he always is finding those extra couple of auto attacks, right? He's always last hitting a little bit better, right, than the average player. He's always, right, like every time he's going for a last hit, it tends to feel like he's hitting at the right time, right, when he's trying to deny. It's really putting a lot of pressure on me mentally as well in that regard, because like every single creep is a battle. Every single creep I feel like I'm going to get punished in terms of him denying it, right? Trying to contest it in terms of deny, or just him putting pressure if I overextend. So it's hard, right? And that's him putting all the small things together, but you have to go one at a time. So whether or not it's auto attacking after you hit a hook, playing the deep wards, playing off your level 4 spike, like any of the tips you learned in today's video, hopefully you put them all together. That's best case scenario, but one at a time as he explodes the Lina. And yeah, this game is obviously a wrap. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out, guys. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.